Well, hello everyone. This is Medicine Walk with Dr. Eileen here on YouTube. And for those who are listening in on Blog Talk Radio, it's Healing House Radio. So thank you. And it's well, if you're having a good week, I hope that you're doing okay. If you're not having a good week, I hope you're doing even better. And so, just a second, let me. So, I wanted to talk about something that we all are kind of facing right now. Hold on just a second. Let me. Just had an issue with the something on my Blog Talk Radio thing is acting up. Anyway, the reason that I think that it's good to talk about the golden rule. And this morning, I posted a tweet. And for those of you who don't know, every morning I post a tweet. And it's just kind of something to think about, something to focus on, something to consider. And this morning, it was about the idea that when you're talking to somebody, think about how you would like to be talked to. When you're listening to somebody, consider how you want to be listened to. And, you know, like if you're judging somebody, consider that, you know, what you feel when you're being judged. So, you know, we all have our good days and our bad days. And I will let you know that, well, you know, I've been feeling kind of down lately. I've been, you know, having some different things kind of weighing on me. And I feel that I can share that with you guys. Just like I hope that you feel that you can share whatever you need to share with me. So if it seems I'm a little off today, I've just got some things that are kind of weighing on me. And especially when I spend a lot of time listening to other people, that's probably what I do more than anything else, is listen. And I feel that's important because I want to fully listen to someone, because that's the only way that you figure out what's going on. It's the only way that you make that connection. And I always think about, how would I want someone to listen to me? If I'm talking to somebody about something that's really weighing on my heart, what do I want to see in them? Do I want to see them, you know, checking their cell phone? Do I want to see them just kind of looking at me? Or do I just want to look in their eyes and know that they're just waiting for me to stop talking so they can interject something, either advice or talking about, oh, well, you know, this was my experience. So it's important that we consider when we're dealing with each other, one, you don't quite know where that person is in that moment. And when you are able to set aside one story and accept that maybe there's something going on that you don't know about, or that you want to be able to, you know, really be present for that person. You know, it goes back to the golden rule, you know, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Although there are those who say that the actual original quote was, do not do unto others what you would not have done unto you. So I think that it's either way, it works. Either way, it reminds us that we know how we feel when certain things are said to us, when we're approached in certain ways. So if you can be able to say, you know what, I'm going to take ownership of what I'm feeling in the moment, and I can still be present for someone else. And if you can't, if you're just really dealing with a lot of stuff and you're not able to, then that's okay too. It's all right. You know, none of us can be on all the time. And the fact that you can be able to acknowledge that and say, you know what? I want to be present with you. I want to be here for you. And right in this moment, I can't. So either I can get somebody else who can hold this space for you, or we can just wait a little bit. And so that, you know, because if I've got something that's kind of weighing on me, and somebody comes who needs to, you know, to be able to talk, I don't personally feel it appropriate that I go, it's like, well, my gosh, you know, first we're going to talk about me, then we'll talk about you. So I don't, that doesn't work for me. So I would rather say, you know what, can we talk later? And, or can I get you somebody else who I know will be a really good person to be able to listen to you? So it's a really good thing to be able to consider what it is that you would like as far as an interaction. What is the mode of interaction? And that's different for everybody. I mean, you know, some people respond really well when someone just comes in and, you know, it's like, look, whatever it is, come on, we're handling it. Knock it off. Stop feeling sorry for yourself, you know, who comes from a very kind of assertive place. And there are people who resonate with that. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm being kind of dumb. All right, or you know, I'm telling myself a bad story. Come on, snap out of it. And there's some people who need to have that more gentle approach. You know, someone who just sits down next to them and maybe holds their hand or gives them a hug or lets them cry. Now, depending on how you would respond to something, you know, because there's light and shadow and everything, so there's a tricky part. If you're someone who really responds well to, okay, come on, let's, you know, let's move on, but you're dealing with somebody who maybe doesn't respond to that, maybe needs that hand holding, or maybe needs that hugging, or, you know, maybe it's just an issue of really paying attention to what that person is expressing other than through their words. So when we have an opportunity to talk with somebody and to interact with somebody and to be there with somebody, and we think about, okay, first off, how would I like to be treated? And whether, you know, you're a more gruff, abrupt person, or whether you're somebody who needs to have a little bit more nurturing, realizing and being present with who we're talking to helps us figure out, oh, okay, this is how I would normally approach it for me, but I can see that this isn't what that person needs. And if you're not the kind of person who can be able to, you know, switch horses midstream, then it's for the best to say, oh, okay, let me get somebody who can be able to be there for you in the way that you need them to be. And this could be for anything. It could be somebody going through a difficult time. It could be somebody going through a grief process because of a loss. It could be someone just, you know, really feeling very frustrated that day. It could be someone who's in fear. So ultimately, no matter how your approach works best for you, the main thing that we all want is to be, one, to be respected, two, to be acknowledged, to have what we're going through, you know, just get that acknowledgement. Hey, I can see you're really sad, or I can see you're really upset, or I can see you're really angry. So the approach kind of comes second to the idea of what is it that this person is telling me before they say a single word. You may be observing that their body language is really different. Maybe they're normally, you know, pretty perky, but their body language is very withdrawn. They're curling their body in, or maybe they've kind of separated themselves, or maybe they're not answering their phone. So the idea that if somebody is acting outside of their normal behavior, then, you know, that's something to pay attention to. That's something to notice. Because the thing is, when you do it, believe me, other people notice. There was a time when I was going through some stuff, and I had no idea how much I was saying without telling anybody, because I wasn't going to tell anybody. I was just going to, like, you know what, whatever, I'll deal with it myself. And I had so many people who came up to me and asked me what was wrong. They said, you're not acting like yourself. You're not even walking like yourself. So the idea that there was that consideration of who I was, and I really hadn't thought about how much my body language was saying, hey, not all is well, and I need some help. I need someone to reach out. And, you know, and I was so blessed that people not only noticed, but said, hey, you know, we want to help, whatever it is, we can do this. And really, that's one of the things that we can consider, is how important it is to have somebody just say, we can do this. You're not alone. You're not by yourself. And I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that. So yeah, it's good to be able to say, all right, you know, I may not be the best person because of the way that I work. You know, if I work more abrupt, if I work like, you know, come on, snap out of it, and that's not what that person needs, to be able to recognize that that's not what that person needs. Now, flip it over. If somebody is responding to you in a way that you doesn't work for you, you know, maybe, you know, they are, you know, snap out of it, and you need somebody to just kind of hold you for a few minutes, or you need somebody to, you know, just kind of walk with you, to get you a cup of tea, to just sit down and just be silent with you. Make sure that you let people know what it is that you need. If they can't figure out how to walk a mile in your shoes, you can pop one off and say, okay, try this sucker on for size. But I need certain things to help me through this. Can you provide those things? Because honestly, I believe people want to help. They just often don't know how. And if they haven't had a lot of experience with being able to kind of read people and to sort of get a feel for what that person needs. Now, those who are very accomplished with their empathy, where they can actually, you know, really focus that in. And if you are empathic, then that is a skill that you can be able to work with. And for those of you who don't know what empathic means, it means that you have an ability to feel what somebody else is feeling as if it's your own feeling, which can be very difficult. But once you learn to manage it, it is an amazing tool to be able to help people, because through that, you can be able to perceive, okay, first off, all is not well in the kingdom. There's something going on. Second, what is this person's energy telling me? What are their emotions telling me? You know, how do I approach them to be able to come in from that place of consideration of what they're going through? So being able to, either if you're the person who is trying to work through something, and you can let other people know how it is that you need, you know, to get help from them. What is it? What is the best approach? If you're coming up on somebody who you are concerned about, then take a moment and pause. Take a second to see where they're at. There's a thing in like an emergency response, where if you come up on a scene, the first thing you're supposed to do is stop and assess. You look around, you know, what are the dangerous places? You know, if there's somebody laying on the ground in a room and you just bolt in, well, maybe there's a gas in the room and now suddenly both of you are in trouble. But you want to stop and assess. So when you're considering how you want to help somebody, or even if you really should be the one to step up and help, then take a look at, you know, don't just, oh, well, something's wrong, let's fix it. because that may not be what that person needs. They may just need to be heard. And maybe they don't want advice. Maybe they just need somebody to hear them vent, which, if you're willing to do that, if you have the ability to do that, awesome. And you can go from there. And you need to let it be that person's choice what it is that you do for them. And it's easy to come across judgy. And we all know what it's like to feel like somebody is coming in to our space and our issue, and then they're going to start judging us. And that is like really difficult. It's challenging. And it makes it hard for that person to be able to feel like they can open up. It's hard for that person to feel like they have, hold on, that they have a safe place that they can put whatever it is that they need to put. So, just consider what you need. Consider how you like being treated when you're going through something. Consider what works, and then use that as the starting point, but always take a look at what it is. Always assess before you approach. Always consider all of what that person, I mean, maybe it's someone you know real well, which makes it really easy, because if it's somebody you know real well, if it's like a family member or like, one of those friends that are like chosen family, then you've already got a pretty good idea as to kind of how that person works. And so, maybe you come in with, hey, what is wrong? Come on. You're telling yourself a hard story. Tell yourself a better one. Let's go. Let's do something, because maybe that's what works with that person. Or maybe they just want to be quiet. So you can sit down, and you can sit down next to them and maybe hold their hand. If it's somebody who has a tendency to need to get a hug, and especially people who do a lot of helping, do a lot of work for other people, that occasionally they're always the one to give the hug, but for somebody to actually be able to sit and receive a hug, to be in that place. Because when you receive a hug, it's like two people hugging each other. There's the idea of like, mutual hug greeting. Then there's the hug that when you are the one creating a space, and you're holding them and you're giving them a safe space. Maybe they start crying, maybe they just hold on, but you're creating an eye of the storm for them. But that's like you helping them. Then there's the total receiving hug, where you just kind of fall into someone's arms and they make it okay. And you feel safe, and you feel like it's a safe place for you to maybe cry or just hold on or talk. So there's a lot to consider in being able to be there for someone, and being there for someone in a way that helps, being there for someone in a way that allows them to move through whatever they're going through, as opposed to getting stuck in it, as opposed to, this is what you need to do, and here's all the things that you've made mistakes with, which I'm sure that anybody who's watching this probably would never, ever, ever do that. And it's amazing how often, when people don't know what to say, that they will just kind of say whatever it is that they think may comfort in that moment. And we have all dealt with people who have said, I know for that I've had people who will say something to me, and in my mind, I'm honestly saying, seriously, that's the best you could come up with in this moment. That's your A game. That's your best support. I don't say it out loud because I know they mean well. And when somebody is going through something and the person comes in and immediately starts talking about, it's like, oh, well, if you think that's bad, here's this. It's like, no, No one wants to hear that. No one having an issue wants to hear suddenly about your worst situation. It's about listening. It's about having that level of presence that if you don't know what to say, if you honestly don't know what to say nothing. And that can be some of the best comforting that someone may be able to get, because the idea of just being present, that they're not alone. And if you're going through it, and if you are going through a tough time, I am sorry. And I hope it works out. And it's that place of being able to realize that we all, go through tough times. We all have different ways that we deal with it. Some go out and, want to be surrounded by people. Others want to withdraw and be alone. Either way, it can either lead to balance restored, or it can take them further down a very dark hole. So being able to be balanced, being respectful, and yet at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm worried about you. We need to talk about this. So consider how you like to be spoken to before you speak. Consider how important it is to be really listened to, and then listen. Consider that each person's situation is unique. Each person has their own way of processing, and maybe it processes slowly, maybe it processes quickly, but either way, they make it through, and they make it through easier when they can feel they're safe. You can make them safe. Or if you're going through something, you can teach someone else how to help you feel safe, how to help you be able to process through and move forward and find that balance point, to be able to find that place of, okay, I'm better. And maybe it means, professional help. Maybe it means, just doing maybe more involved, because not everything is simple. Not everything is, well, just go and exercise or have a positive attitude or whatever. It may be something a little more complex. Do not be afraid to say, you know what, if somebody tells you something and you are in over your head, please acknowledge it and say, you know what, we need to talk to a professional. We need to talk to somebody else. I can't fix this for you. I can't help you fix it. I can be a part of the solution, but I can't be the only solution. So just, take the steps. Assess, consider, and be able to find what it is that that person needs. Or if it's you, be able to say what it is you need to help that person understand what that walk in your shoes is about. Because once they do, they can be a marvelous help. But either way, hang in there, because whatever you're going through, whatever I'm going through, whatever anybody's going through, we're all going to go through it. And then we come out the other side, maybe a little bumped, maybe a little bruised, maybe even with a few scars, but we do come out eventually. And as the saying I say goes, life is fun until it isn't, and it sucks until it doesn't. And no matter how fun it is, at some point it's going to suck. No matter how much it sucks, at some point it's going to be fun again. So it's about being able to help each other process through, and being able to call in the help when we need it. Either way, you're going to be okay. So thank you for joining me. And if you found value in this, And actually, this helped me out too. It helped put some things in perspective. And it's interesting, I sometimes while I'm talking, there'll be the little thing in my head going, see, that's what you needed to remember. So if you would like to support me and support this growing community, then you can like, you can share, you can subscribe, and also comment. I do check the comments and I do respond. So you can also check me out on Twitter, and you can also check out my Facebook group, Medicine Walk with Dr. Eileen. However you reach me, however you would like to reach me, reach out, because I'm here and I'm willing to listen. So until next time, and as always, I wish you balance and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Love you. It's going to be all right. We got this. Bye-bye.